Williamson, you're there. Chairman, I'm passing it over to you. We have a quorum.
Thank you, Tanika. So present are Treasurer Representative Morado, Board Member Williamson, and then myself, Chairman Chinalopoli. I do believe Board Member Powell will be joining us, and though I'm not sure on Council Member Lavelle. But since we have a quorum, we will bring the meeting to order. First matter of business is approval of the March 10th, 2020 annual regular URA board meeting minutes. Do you have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The minutes are approved. We do want to note that the board did meet in executive session to discuss personnel matters on March 28th and then April 3rd, 6th, and 14th. And then the board was also briefed by staff on April 11th regarding today's agenda. This briefing was for informational purposes only. With that, I don't believe there was anyone registered for public comment, Tanika, so we'll move into announcements.
Thank you. So this is an announcement that is, it's tough, but I just want to thank you all. Deputy Walker, this is your last board meeting with the Urban Redevelopment Authority. And I'm not sure if words can adequately express the impact you've made on this organization, the city, and my fellow colleagues. I'm grateful to our board for allowing us an opportunity to salute and acknowledge you. You have led the URA staff and pushed the envelope to ensure we eradicate perfectionism, but operate in excellence. You've catapulted the URA to think in new ways by humanizing the work and acknowledging our privilege. You've shattered and broken a glass ceiling by being the first to hold this position, the first Black woman deputy executive director. Your time here is ending, but we rest knowing that our paths, they'll continue to cross. And from one servant leader to another, breathe for a little, but don't stay too long because there's way more work to do. Thank you for your time. Greg.
Yeah, I'd love to jump. The shower of love begins here. I like to kind of lead off and just say, you know, I just embarrassed Diamante a little bit in the previous little get together we had downstairs. I got a luncheon. I kind of told her, I'll repeat the story that, you know, when I was hired here 2+ years ago, I think the idea was, and Sam would know this, the idea was to have somebody, you know, with some gray hair to come in, who's got some economic development experience to come in and take Diamante under their wing and show her some ropes with the idea of turning the keys over to her in a handful of years. And I think, you know, what I learned in going through that process is that, you know, Diamante, but I got the much better end of this deal. Diamante basically took me under her wing, as it turns out. And it showed me explained to me the politics, the people, the paradigms of the city, and how to navigate that. And I'll be forever grateful for her to do that. She's been, as I said before, my confidant, main collaborator, consigliere, sounding board, and I hope that you've seen that you've been able to use me in that role too. And you know, she's a top talent in the city. I will greatly miss her on behalf of the organization, but also personally. Like I said, I've had a chance to work with some really top-notch professionals in my life, in my career, and I would pick Diamante first in the list if I had to have my dream team of people I used to work with. She would be top of my list. And I think, you know, she's been known, you know, I think in the community and here at the URA as de facto chief operating officer, keeping the trains running on time, a really solid administrator. But I think she's also an undersung, underrated creative force in the city. In terms of she, you know, pioneered what became Avenues of Hope through the kind of the pilot of the Center Avenue work, which kind of became Avenues of Hope throughout the city. PGH was another one of her brainchilds. Invest PGH, she had big input in all of those larger creative efforts of the URA. She just truly changed the direction and the look of this organization. And I can't see enough great things about her. So thank you, Diamante. You're always welcome to come back here. And nothing's ever final, right? We don't know what the future looks like. So I may be able to turn those keys over to her at some point in the future still. We never know. I'm keeping that hope alive. And with that, I would just, thank you again. And
Thank you.
best of luck to you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the warm sentiments.
I was going to say other board members. Sam, if you want to go first.
Yeah, do you mind?
No, go for it.
I just, Greg, that was really well said. Tanika, what you said was beautiful and well deserved. Diamante, it's been an immense pleasure to work alongside of you these last several years. We could not have accomplished any of the things that we did together without your incredible vision and leadership and thoughtfulness. And Pittsburgh is a better place. The URA is a better place because of your commitment to equity and to inclusion and to ensuring that, that we turn a corner and center this economic development organization on justice and equity. And I'm incredibly grateful to have had the experience of working with you and to having had the pleasure and privilege of seeing you work. And, on behalf of the people of Pittsburgh, on behalf of the, members of my union and many, many, many others who have benefited from your thoughtfulness and your hard work. Thank you. And,
Thank you.
we're gonna miss you and the Pittsburgh Scholar House and all of the scholars to be they're lucky to have you.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
I can add on a little bit. Diamante, thank you so much for everything. As a young Black woman working in this space, seeing you lead with courageousness, with intentionality, with compassion has meant not just the world to me, but staffers under me. I actually had an interview the other day, people talking about questions about the URA, and I was like, I don't know how to describe this, but I feel like it's pre-Diamante, post-Diamante. How do you designate the times of my time, at least on the URA? And as everyone said, you've been a visionary, and the organization, the city of Pittsburgh, is so grateful that you've chosen to spend some time with us and really, again, center equity, center Black people, center equitable development for everyone. So I'm so grateful to be able to be a part of the URA, under your leadership, and so excited to see what you do next.
Thank you, Lindsay. It's been a pleasure working with you. I've learned so much from you as well.
I guess I knew I'd have the benefit or misfortune of going last in terms of, everyone would have said most of it. But with that in mind, I mean, Diamante, since you told me about your decision to go to the Scholar House, been kind of reflecting, from the time we first met, right before your appointment to the Land Bank Board, and then ultimately, your initial kind of time with the URA. And Tanika, said the word in her remarks. I kept coming back to this idea of impact. And in particular, I remember at one point, this would have been, I guess, 4 years ago, and it was late. It was close to 5 or after, and we were in your office looking over data in terms of how to kind of adequately tell the story of all the work that you had done, and kind of rethinking through the way that the URA approaches its contracting, and really being able to show that impact. And as I think of that and all the examples that Greg cited, that Sam cited, that Tanika cited, that Lindsay cited, I just kept coming back to that. And so thank you for pushing all of us and the authority and the way that we approach that. I want to thank you for the work that you're going to do with Pittsburgh Scholar House, as a child of a single mother. You know, I'm excited to see what you do, and I'm thankful that you're going to be leading that, because it's incredibly important. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you for that. And if I may, I am so appreciative of the opportunity to serve. It has been the opportunity of a lifetime. And while I know that I get a lot of accolades and praise for what it's perceived that I've done here at the URA, it would not have been possible without a board focused on and centering the needs of Pittsburghers, without a colleague like Greg Flistrom here and the 100 staff members here at the URA. They have really been the turbine of what I believe has been a transformative practice here in the public sector. And so while I am leaving the URA, I believe that I will still be serving the city of Pittsburgh's interest, and that all of our interests remain aligned. I want to thank City of Pittsburgh residents and all of the stakeholders that are on today's call or that might watch in the future. And again, you have entrusted me with something, you know, invaluable, which is the ability to use government to be a force for good in our city and our communities. And I am extremely grateful. And I will take the lessons that I have learned. I will take, you know, all of the ups and downs that we've seen here in our city, and I'll use that in my new practice at the Pittsburgh Scholar House to create a more equitable city for all, where all residents have an opportunity to pursue higher education and convert that into economic mobility. So thank you.
Thank you. Tanika, I don't believe there's any other announcements. That was a heavy enough one for today. You know, we'll move into the couple items that we have for the agenda. The first items from Development Services, Center Avenue, 21 Rose Street. A couple items before us. Oh, did you raise? Sorry. I don't know who from staff's presenting, but we'll turn it over to them. Yeah.
Thanks, Chairman. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brett Morgan. Today, I'm presenting the 21 Rose project development for two separate board actions. The first approval is for final drawings, final evidence of financing, and authorization to execute a deed for 5 URA-owned parcels in the Middle Hill. The second action is the approval of a Housing Opportunity Fund for Sale Development Program grant in the amount of $260,000. The 21 Rose project includes the new construction of 6 3-bedroom and 3-bathroom for-sale townhouses along Rose Street, 2 of which will be sold to home buyers at or below 80% area median income, and they would remain affordable for a period of 99 years. The other 4 units will be sold at market rate. So to introduce the first board action, this project originally came to the URA as our Kendall Development Group submitted a proposal through the Center Avenue Request for Qualifications, which was issued by the URA in October of 2019. The 21 Rose Street project was one of 6 selected by the RFQ Review Committee, and they've since been working through the URA's disposition process, as well as towards the necessary approvals required for FSDP financing. While these projects have since been incorporated into the Greater Avenues of Hope initiative, the developer received approval of the proposal package from the URA board in August of 2021. Just some more background on the Center Avenue RFQ process. To complete the requirements, the 21 Rose development team had to go through an extensive community input process, which included completion of the Hill District's development review panel and several public presentations and workshops with the community and the Hill District Consensus Group. For instance, at the URA District 6-led community meeting, which was held in September of 2020, 81.8% of participants responded favorably to the project concept, and 86.4% of respondents felt that the proposal did align with the Hill District Master Plan and the Center Avenue Corridor Plan. Upon completion of the Hill District's DRP process in August of 2021, the project scored a cumulative 84% from the DRP and received additional feedback regarding the project. The development team is currently working to schedule additional presentations to the community with project updates ahead of closing. Regarding the second board action, URA staff have worked closely with our Kendall Development Group and the Pittsburgh Housing Development Corporation as they submitted an application for an FSDP grant and the funding. Last Thursday, the Hoff Advisory Board approved the recommendation of this grant, which would complete the capital stack and allow the development team to move towards that financial closing in early to mid-May. This grant would support the project along with a first mortgage commercial construction loan from Bridgeway Capital, developer equity, and a combination of other grants provided through DCED's Keystone Communities Grant Program, Bridgeway Capital, and Neighborhood Allies. So lastly, to speak a bit about the development team itself, the rendering that you see on the slideshow was prepared by the development team's architect, Cipriani Studios, and the development team also includes Medco Commercial Group, who's serving as the general contractor and the co-construction manager. PHDC, as I mentioned previously, is the technical assistance provider and nonprofit applicant for the FSDP application. And today we have Stefan Johnson, who is the founder and CEO of our Kendall Development Group, as well as Justin Belton from PHDC. They're on the call today to provide a few brief remarks, and then we can address any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. And thank you for that great presentation, Brett. But first and foremost, I too want to acknowledge Dr. Walker and all of that she brought to me as a private market developer and helping me transition into the public sector. So I too want to extend my thanks to her for all of the work that she has done in providing small business or small minority business, such as myself, an opportunity to partner with the URA and other URA capacity teams along this particular project and others. So thank you, Dr. Walker, for all that you've done to, again, attract me to the URA and the private and the public sector. And I look forward to your continued success in the Pittsburgh market. But with that, as Brett mentioned, this development team started this project back in 2019, believe it or not, and we have worked tirelessly through the global pandemic and other to bring this to fruition, and we're really, really excited about it. I briefly apologize really quickly. I'm actually at a conference here in Baltimore, Maryland, and I'm trying to take this in the most quiet area possible. But you know, at the onset of this project, when we initially did a feasibility and concept for this, our goal was to, and still remains, was to provide or to help low and moderate income families gain access to good quality, stable, affordable housing. And throughout the massive construction crisis we've all found ourselves in the development community, that has remained unchanged. As many of you may or may not know, it is extremely cost intensive to develop actually affordable housing, more so than market housing, due to the complexity of assembling the financing. And so we've been fortunate enough to work with very patient capital partners such as Bridgeway Capital, fortunate enough to be able to reach out to organizations like Neighborhood Allies and other to really support this effort to help us do our best to compress those construction prices as best as possible, and continue to provide these homes at an 80% EMI. And as Brett mentioned, these homes will, two of the six homes, excuse me, will have a 99-year deed restriction income, which almost is what we were considering permanent affordability attached to them. So we're excited to be able to participate at a level with that. And as I've remained transparent throughout the entire process, that this particular development was not created as a solve for all of the affordability challenges in the region, but more so a step in the right direction. And so we're excited to participate at this level and bring along a partner such as the PHDC to help us, pull together this very complex capital stack to make this happen. So, we're looking forward to future approvals and again, finalizing our capital stack with our financing partner, Bridgeway Capital. And hopefully by middle to end of May, early June, we will be doing a ribbon cutting or other at the site and celebrating this particular development coming to life.
Thanks, Stefan and Brett. Just to add to that, so the PHDC has been Rose Street Ventures nonprofit partner throughout this process. And we have been providing technical assistance throughout development, including connections to contractors, local contractors, managing total development costs through the global pandemic, and assisting in the navigation of community input processes such as the Hill District Development Review Panel. We've also been a partner, as Stefan had mentioned, in raising capital through local and state agencies to ensure the affordability component of the project. And I just wanted to reiterate Stefan's continuing commitment to this affordability component of it. It's not been an easy journey, and he is very strongly committed, so much to the point that he's forfeited his developer fee for the 2 affordable units while actually putting in additional time and effort into the financing and countless hours and grant proposals and working with the development team to find creative ways to reduce total development cost while also maintaining quality, efficient, low cost and low maintenance units. And with this 99-year affordability period, this project is really going to set up a lot of families over this next 99 years for success. And I believe that this will be a great lasting asset to the community. So just thank you to Brett and Stefan and all parties involved. And thank you to the board for hearing this item today.
Thank you, Justin. Any questions, comments from the board for the team?
I just have a quick question. I apologize for not knowing this. This is more of a question geared towards those employed by the URA. But when determining 80% AMI, is AMI determined at a county, city, or census tract level?
AMI is considered at a citywide level.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else for anyone? Great. With that, we'll take the 2 items together. There'll be approval of final drawings, approval of final evidence of financing, and authorization to execute a deed for certain block and lots in the 5th Ward to our Kendall Development Group, and then approval of a Housing Opportunity Fund for Sale Development Program grant agreement with our Kendall Development Group in the amount of $260,000 for new construction of 6 townhomes in the Middle Hill neighborhood of the city of Pittsburgh. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
No. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? The motion's carried. Thank you all very much, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Next item is in Ferrywood, the Ferrywood Industrial Site. David, are you, there we go. Okay.
I was having trouble getting my screen up. Yeah, this is in one of the furthest western neighborhoods of Pittsburgh. Maybe everybody isn't familiar with Ferrywood, but it is not too far away from 79. There are a lot of warehouses around there, but at one point, this 20-some acres was the Broadhead Manor housing community. But after some deferred maintenance issues and other things related largely to a flooding that happened at Hurricane Ivan, this was condemned and the houses were removed. The URA purchased this about 2011, and we have an opportunity to put it back into use. Very excited about this kind of third time as the charm with developers. We went through Burns and Scalo, Fourth River before landing here with RIDC. So a nonprofit partner to develop the land. We were prevented by deed from using it for housing again after what happened with the prior housing development. So this is to be warehousing and light industrial. We'll do it in 2 phases as we're able to move it forward. The first phase is 150,000 square feet That's on the right-hand side of the site. So we'll be doing a lot of work to improve the site, make it ready for use. There's some topographical issues, but we'll be trying to do limited change and keep up with stormwater mitigation and other issues that were part of the problem with developing the site. But with 150,000 square foot new warehouse and light industrial, we should be able to get almost 80 jobs. So these should be good paying jobs for the area. So we're very excited about that. We think that's a great use, put it back onto the tax rolls. And if everything moves forward as we hope it will, there is space for a second 150,000 square foot warehouse, flexible warehouse space. And that should be another 60 to 80 jobs.
Thanks, David. Oh,
Yeah, I was just
go
going to
ahead.
mention the total value of the project. It's $39 million. And that should bring about $365,000 a year in taxes. This is a relatively new effort of the URA to be invested in projects for the long term so that we are sustainable and able to put proceeds into our mission critical developments into the future.
Great. Thank you. I saw that Jason Hobbs from RADC was on. Jason, I don't know if you had anything that you wanted to add.
Yes, thank you, Kyle. Can you hear me
Yep.
okay?
Yep.
Thank you to you and the board and everyone at the URA for both their cooperation on this project. As many of you know, I served as in-house counsel for the URA for several years and very much enjoyed my time. So I also very much appreciate the opportunity to come back and work with the URA on this project. Currently, I'm in-house counsel for RIDC, which, if you don't know, is a nonprofit economic development corporation. Very similar mission to the URA, just a broader regional focus. In this instance, the URA asked us to come look at the site and try to find a way to develop it where we can put it back on the tax rolls, bring some jobs into the city, and most importantly, help the URA keep equity in the project and help build some, as Dave Serban mentioned a moment ago, sustainable revenue stream. So the advantage of this partnership is we're both nonprofits. We can be more patient than for-profit developers, and we can take our time and make sure that we do our best here to maximize the benefit to the public and to the URA. So we're very excited about this. It's moving along well, and we do have a very good credit anchor tenant. We're hoping to sign a lease in the near term and begin construction on the phase 1 building by the end of the year. We're beginning the entitlement process now, so we should be in good position to break ground before winter. Again, I'll thank you all for your time and for URA staff for all their hard work on this project.
Thanks, Jason. Any questions, comments from the board?
No, not a question. I just want to take a moment and thank the URA staff and leadership who work to find a way to make this happen and partner with RADC to develop this this framework. We all too often, I feel like in our economy, we socialize risk while privatizing reward in the development process, and this project is an opportunity to to actually capture some of the long-term economic benefit for the direct benefit and use of the public. So the profit, if assuming there is profit on this project, will come directly back to the people of Pittsburgh to be further invested in our region. So it's a great construct, and thanks to everyone who worked on it.
Well said, Sam. Anyone else? Well, I know this is a project that the council president is incredibly excited about and supportive of. Her comments, I think, in the release that we put out the other day are reflective of that, and something that she's excited both for the broader parts of West Pittsburgh as well as the immediate neighborhood of Fairywood. So it's exciting to see for that reason and the reasons that Sam just spoke to as well. So with that, entertain a motion for the authorization to execute a deed for the conveyance of block 107H, lot 100 and block 70E, lots 300 and 325 to RIDC, Southwestern Pennsylvania Growth Fund as straw party for Fairywood Industrial Park 1 and Fairywood Industrial Park 2 for consideration of $1.
Motion to approve.
We have a
Seconded.
second? Great. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The motion carries. Next is the disclosures agenda. Nathan, I know we had a change to make before we entertain a motion on this.
Correct. Thank you, Chair. If you draw the board's attention to section 3, number B, in the published agenda, the addresses and block and lots for these parcels were incorrect. As you see them written here, and the presentation that Daniel was sharing, the information is correct. So 3B should read Certificate of Completion for Manchester Row Renaissance LLC for block 22K, lots 133 and 132A in the 21st Ward, residential rehab 1426 and 1428 Rush Street. So if you move to accept the disclosure agenda in its entirety, I just ask that you add in its entirety as written in today's presentation.
Okay. Any other questions or comments related to the disclosure agenda? Okay.
Make a motion to approve it in its entirety as presented today by council.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? The motion carries. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Great. Well, thank you, everybody. Appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Dr. Walker, thank you. And we'll see everyone next month.
Thank you all. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Chair.